The whispering cemetery of Hollowbrook. In the misty hollows of southern Vermont, there is a patch of land most locals will not pass after sunset. It's not marked on most maps, though the oldest residents still speak of it in hushed tones, not with fear, with a reverence reserved for ancient places. This forgotten place is known as the Whispering Cemetery of Hollowbrook. It sits beneath a canopy of black pines, at the end of a winding trail swallowed by ivy and fog. The iron gates are rusted, leaning as if trying to flee the land they once protected. Beyond them lies a graveyard of crooked stones, names long faded, and monuments slowly being consumed by moss and root. But I senti the graves themselves that make the cemetery infamous. It is the voices, a cemet that speaks. The phenomenon is consistent. After midnight, when the mist rises thickest and the wind dies completely, the air in Hollow Brook Cemetery becomes unnaturally still. Then, faintly at first, a murmur begins, as if dozens of voices were speaking at once, too soft to distinguish the words, yet undeniably human. The locals call it the Mourner's Choir. One legend says the cemetery was built over an older burial ground belonging to a vanished settlement known as Eldon S. Hollow, a religious commune that disappeared in the early 1800s, according to folklore. The entire congregation vanished overnight, leaving only hollowed-out homes and a forest of handmade headstones behind. Some say the members didn't die, in the traditional sense that their faith had driven them to attempt communion with the dead, and that something had answered. The cemetery is said to be the last place their voices were heard, and perhaps where they still are. Kaivis obsession. In 2003, a cultural historian named Dr. Felix Granger came across Hollow Brook while researching rural folklore for a documentary series. He'd been skeptical of the supernatural his entire life, a firm believer in logic and psychology over ghost stories. That changed the night he set foot in Hollow Brook. Felix visited the cemetery in early autumn, equipped with 2 audio recorders, a thermal camera, and a notebook. As he stood among the leaning gravestones just past midnight, he wrote, "The quiet is unlike any I've known. It feels intentional, like something is waiting for me to speak first." Moments later, his recorder picked up faint whispering. It was barely audible, soft, layered, melodic in its distortion. He played it back repeatedly, adjusting the frequencies. Embedded in the whispering was a single word, repeated again and again. Stay. Over the next 6 months, Felix returned every full moon. He documented chants, children's laughter, and once what he believed to be his own voice whispering back at him. He wrote, "The cemetery remembers, it mimics, it watches. I do not know if it wants worship or company, but I feel it pulling at me." He abandoned his documentary. His last written entry, dated February 12th, 2004, reads, "They've begun to speak in daylight. Felix disappeared that spring. His car was found parked at the edge of Hollow Brook. His backpack and audio gear lay at the foot of the iron gate. The tapes were blank. The Hollowbrook effect. What fascinated researchers was N.T. Joseph Felix's disappearance. It was what happened to the few who tried to follow in his footsteps. In 2006, 2 amateur ghost hunters spent the night in Hollowbrook. They left before dawn, visibly shaken. One claimed he saw a woman in a white veil wandering between the stones. The other wept uncontrollably for hours, unable to explain why. Their recordings, once again, were blank. A professor of linguistics, Dr. Carla Bennett, tried using ultrasound mix to capture the frequencies of the whispers. She reported unusual wave patterns, far below human hearing range. According to her analysis, the cemetery emitted non-random vocalized sound structures, a form of unspoken language that seemed to respond to the observer's presence. It's not just noise, she said. It's a conversation, one we don't understand yet. Big grave in row 17, there is one grave at the center of many tailies, marked only with the name Elsbeth. It lies in row 17, a line of crumbling stones obscured by brush and leaves. Folklore, says Elsbeth, was the final leader of Eldon's Hollow, a woman rumored to have opened the veil between worlds. Prize. Visitors claim the air near her grave is colder, even in midsummer. Children who wander to close are said to hear singing. Dogs won't go near it. Bye. In 2011, a small team attempted to exhume Elsbeth's grave for historical research. On the day of the dig, every tool malfunctioned. Batteries drained. Machinery froze. 2 team members suffered severe nosebleeds. The project was cancelled by afternoon. They never broke ground. That night, residents a mile away reported hearing organ music drifting through the trees. The sleepwalker. Perhaps the strangest account is that of Lana Reyes, a Hollowbrook resident whose 80-year-old daughter, Emily, began sleepwalking. One morning, Lana awoke to find Emily gone. Police found the girl at the gates of the cemetery, barefoot, eyes closed, lips moving. When she woke, Emily remembered nothing. But in her hand was a stone, smooth, old, with strange etchings that did not match any local geology. The markings resembled an ancient dialect no archaeologist could identify. Emily has since grown up. She now avoids the woods entirely. Oh, they never wanted to hurt me, she once said. They just wanted to be remembered. A place beyond time. Today, Hollowbrook is a nature preserve. The cemetery is listed as off-limits to the public, yet people still go, some out of curiosity, some out of obsession. All of them come back, quieter. Local hikers report strange dreams after passing near the ground. Some speak of shadows that linger too long, voices that echo behind them, or an irresistible urge to return. It is as if the cemetery leaves a fingerprint on the mind, a memory that wasn't yours to begin with. The cemetery doesn't scream, it whispers, and that whisper stays with you. So, if you ever find yourself walking the foggy paths of southern Vermont and hear your name carried on the wind, soft, tender, inviting, do not answer, because Hollowbrook already knows you, and it's been waiting